Welcome to the Tim Heale podcast. I'm going to have my two pennyworth on what's going on at the moment. I've been listening all morning, or the last couple of weeks actually, to the build-up of Putin going into Ukraine. And quite honestly, what we're doing at the moment ain't enough. It's there. He's dropping bombs. The estimate is that today he's probably going to take Kiev. And we're sitting back and we're talking about putting under sanction here, a sanction there. Biden had a very poor reading of his auto cue in his response. And Kamala Harris thinks it's Hungary that he's going after. Boris has at least had some encouraging words of more sanctions. Well, no. Freeze his assets. Bang. Done. All his Omicrons. One, freeze a lot. Bang. 100. There's 100 or so of them apparently. Billions or trillions that are tied up. If you freeze all his assets, that's all in banks around the world, he's got no money. He farms it all out to these Omicrons. So if you freeze that lot, bang, they're done. And as for the Germans and the Italians, what are they thinking? All right, they're beholden to Russia for their gas and oil. But they brought it on themselves. Really have. And to veto stopping the SWIFT payments for Russia just gives him an added hand. This ain't gonna end well for anybody. It ain't gonna end well for Putin and Russia, and it certainly ain't gonna end well for Ukraine. And where does he stop? What's his intentions with the Baltic states? If he goes into there, into the Baltic states, any one of them, they're all now part of NATO, and we are obligated to go in and help protect it. And can we do it? Have we got the resources? Will the rest of the NATO allies step up to the plate? That's a big question, isn't it? Will the Germans come and join in and back us up? Will the Italians? Will the French? I mean, Macron's been he's got egg on his face at the moment, trying to appease Putin, and then all of a sudden he's got stabbed in the back. He's got a custard pie in a mooey. It ain't going to end well for anybody. I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know. I can't see what his intentions are unless he wants to reunite what was the USSR. Is that his intention? Is that what he's trying to do? Take over, reform the USSR? Go back to the bad old days of the Cold War? If that's going to happen, we need another 100,000 troops, because during the Cold War we had 160,000 British troops, and we had something like about 80,000 troops based in Germany. Is that going to happen again? I can't see it myself. And we've just coming out the back end of this pandemic that, quite frankly, was caused by China. So what are China going to do now? If they see the West cowering down and letting Putin get away with it, Taiwan's next. You mark my words. They'll be in there like a rat up an aqueduct. They'll be in there like Flint. Boom. No more Taiwan. That'll be part of China. They've already, I mean, look at the atrocities and what they're doing in Hong Kong. Then they said they wouldn't, but they are. I mean, Hong Kong's getting a right hard time. People living in Hong Kong are really getting stuffed. They know Biden is weak. I mean, you can see what happened after the debacle of the retreat from Kabul. They know that Biden hasn't got the backbone to stand up to anybody. He doesn't even know what day of the week it is, to be honest. So where's it all going to end? Are we going to end up in another world war? Are we going to be going to war again? It's kind of almost sort of time, isn't it? You look back at history, from the First World War to the Second World War. All right, we've had some pretty major skirmishes in the interim, but is it time that the world is going to be turned upside down again? Time will tell. I certainly hope not. I mean, this one's likely, if it does kick off big time, who's going to press the button first? Who's going to hit that big red button first? Is it going to be Putin and we retaliate? Chances are we won't start. But if he hits one, he'll cop a lot. And then we'll all be all living in NBC kit for the rest of our days. And I can tell you, working there and living in an NBC environment is no fun at all. Every time you go outside, you've got to put on your serious, and we're talking serious types of PPE. You've got to put on your respirator. Every time you come back in, you've got to decontaminate. That's no fun at all. Trust me. And then if you're outside and you're trying to have your McDonald's or whatever, you've got no chance. Trying to decontaminate and eat outside, undercover, whatever, it's hard work. We don't want it. But that's the reality of it. The next one could be a nuclear war. So that's my couple of pennies worth on this one. I just don't think it's going to end particularly well for anybody. And I don't know what they're doing. Our politicians, the Western world, are dragging the heels. You can see where the Germans are coming from, because they get, about 60% of their gas requirements from Russia. If he turns that off, we're almost out of winter. So the summer might be all right, but where do they get their gas from? And I'll tell you what, if he does do that and they look elsewhere, gas prices are going to go up 5-10-fold to what they are now. We've already got a big hike in our fuel, our gas and oil and electric. I mean, that's going to get even worse, isn't it? You can see it coming. We ain't going to be able to talk about whether to heat or eat. We won't be able to do either. We won't be able to afford to do either, because everything will be so expensive. But there you go. These things are sent to try us. Who'd you get in touch with? But for now, that's my 2 pennies worth on the whole take on this Ukraine crisis. And it is a crisis at the moment. So, thanks for listening.